Earlier today, the international medical aid group Doctors Without Borders accused U.S. forces of deliberately bombing that hospital in Kunduz City. The U.S. says it's conducting a full investigation, but Doctors Without Borders is calling also for an independent inquiry, insisting, quote, a war crime has been committed. Let's bring in Jason Cohn, who's joining us from New York. He's the executive director for Doctors Without Borders. Jason, first let me express our deepest condolences to you, the loss of 12 of your colleagues, the patients there, the kids who were there. Why do you think this was a deliberate U.S. airstrike?
Thank you, Will, for the condolences. It's been a tremendously difficult time having lost 22 staff and patients. Given the nature of the attack, the fact that there were strikes over an extended period of time on our hospital, on one specific building, and the rest of our compound remained untouched, we think it's absolutely critical that an independent and impartial investigation is conducted. We certainly are willing to cooperate with the Defense Department investigation, as well as NATO and Afghan government investigations. But the fact of the matter is that a hospital that has been operational since 2011, for which we had told all the relevant contacts at U.S. military, both at civilian and military leadership level, about that we're continuing to operate. We had nearly 200 patients and staff inside. No one can claim to not know what this building was doing and who it was treating, and the fact that we were providing impartial medical care in a war zone, as we do in many countries around the world.
Who do you want to conduct this outside international, I assume it'll be some sort of international investigation?
We're still looking into that. We think it needs to have certainly an independent and an international character to it. We just think it's critical, especially in the last 72 hours, given the repeated changes of positions from being a quote-unquote collateral damage to airstrike called in by Afghan military, to now this latest statements by General Campbell that this was done through the U.S. chain of command. So the changing story it drives us to reinforces the point that we think it needs to be independent, an independent investigation to have any credibility. And this is about respect for the laws of war and the international humanitarian law. And this attack was certainly a grave violation of those laws. And until we're told otherwise, and until we see an independent investigation, we'll presume that this was in fact a war crime.
Well, because war crime, obviously very strong words. Do you believe the pilots, the crew members of this aircraft, this AC-130, that dropped the munitions on this hospital, they knew in fact it was a hospital, there were doctors, nurses, patients, children inside, they deliberately wanted to blow it up?
I think that's for U.S. and coalition authorities to prove otherwise. We've done everything we could over the past years that this hospital has been operational. It says on the very front doors of the compound, we treat all victims of violence impartially, driven by medical ethics. We provided the GPS coordinates repeatedly to civilian and military leadership, both in Washington and Kabul. I find it very difficult to believe that people were not aware of the intent and the purpose of this facility. The fact that close to 400 patients have been treated during the preceding days, and then when the attack was unfolding, we called those same contacts that we had to notify them that the attack was going. And it continued repeatedly, basically in 15-minute increments, and hitting repeatedly our hospital and killing the 22 staff and patients we had. And there needs to be an accounting for that. It needs to be done independently. That can be complementary to the investigations unfolding under the auspices of the U.S. government and NATO and Afghan authorities, but we think and will continue to demand for an independent inquiry into this attack.
Is there any evidence, Jason, that the Taliban may have been launching fire from either from within that hospital or very near to that hospital that could have inspired this attack?
Our staff tell us on the ground, and note that we had close to 80 staff both on the ground working in the hospital, that it was quiet in the compound until the airstrike started. We cannot accept that armed forces enter our hospitals. That puts our staff at risk anywhere in the world, not just in Afghanistan, in Yemen, South Sudan. We need respect for our facilities. They're there to treat anyone who's wounded, but it requires, and it says on the front gates of our hospital, that you cannot enter with weapons. And we make this clear, and we've made this clear to the authorities at the outset of opening these hospitals, both Afghan authorities and U.S., all along, going back to 2009 when we re-entered Afghanistan after having to leave for 5 years after the killing of some of our colleagues in 2004. So this has been, it's the fundamentals of the Geneva Conventions and humanitarian law that armed groups respect the sanctity of these medical facilities and respect the fact that weapons cannot enter, and that we will treat wounded and civilians, and that when combatants are wounded, they are no longer combatants. They are civilians and should be treated as such. I think it's probably understood, and it's quite striking to hear General Campbell talk about the need to re-educate our armed forces about rules of engagement and the basic laws of war. And this is what we're calling for. This is not just about what happened to our colleagues and our patients here in Afghanistan. It's generally in any conflict zone that we work in, the basic necessity that under humanitarian law there is a need to respect medical facilities as protected spaces, and that needs to be guaranteed and respected. There are no longer any more humanitarian aid organizations in Kunduz, and now you have a population who has lost complete access to medical care at a dire time in the midst of a war zone.
It's a city of about 300,000, or at least was a city of about 300,000, the fifth largest city in Afghanistan. Jason Cohn, thanks so much for joining us. We know Doctors Without Borders does incredibly important work around the world, and it's obviously a huge tragedy that they have now had to abandon that work in Kunduz City. Thanks once again.